All right, so listen up, because YouTube is now on easy mode for info business owners. I've been on YouTube for 10 years and I have never seen the conditions be so perfect for you to attract your dream clients and customers using YouTube as an infopreneur. So I can say all of this stuff, or I can just jump on the presentation I prepared and prove it. So with that being said, let's get into it. You see, if you want to win the YouTube game, most people will tell you that it's all about views and subscribers. And I'm very, very well placed to talk about this because on my main channel, I have 5.5 million subscribers. I had the largest YouTube/personal brand growth pretty much ever in the info world. And my main channel is still pulling in hundreds of thousands, if not even millions of views per video. But all that being said, that the reality is that's exactly what holds most business owners back. What I do on my main business channel is for very specific business goals of mine that don't really have to do with running the most profitable lean info business. Let me explain. My A2FL clients are everyday business owners. They are not content creators, yet they are making 100x what the average YouTuber makes. And here's the crazy part, their videos barely get views. We're talking about ugly thumbnails, basic editing, and only a few hundred views per video. By typical YouTube standards, these videos would be considered fails. They'd be considered flops. But what you don't see behind the surface is how much money they are making from these videos. In fact, I have experienced the same thing with my own business channel, this channel. You see, this channel only has about 30,000 subscribers, yet it generates me about $500,000 a month every single month, consistently. How? Because YouTube is on easy mode right now for info business owners. And by the way, this isn't speculation or me just coming up with this. Now, yes, I've observed this myself and we're gonna get into that in a little bit, but let's hear it from the horse's mouth. This is Todd with a French sounding last name that I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. But anyways, he is from YouTube's discovery team, and he just announced that they have a dedicated department focused on helping smaller creators succeed. This is the first time YouTube has ever done something like this. And it's what I call YouTube's hidden buyer algorithm. You see, what happens now is instead of pushing content to everyone, YouTube now connects niche content with the people that are looking for it. So what that means is that for infopreneurs who are already above 250K per year, this is a gold mine because you already know the problem you solve and who your target audience is, meaning you just need to create content that speaks to them. Now listen, I know what you are thinking, but why would YouTube do this? And the reason is quite simple. YouTube is a business. So if they incentivize newer creators and get more people creating content on the platform, they will get more viewers, which means more people watching ads, which means more revenue generated for YouTube. Because here's the thing, when smaller creators get more visibility, they're motivated to keep posting, which creates a positive feedback loop for the platform. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this yourself, but I started noticing this about just under a year ago, and it was very weird and it was very noticeable, literally from like one day to the next, it just changed. And that is that you're probably seeing videos on your recommended with 300 views and they are showing up on your YouTube feed. I'm even seeing smaller channels with 100 subscribers, 200 subscribers getting significant visibility when they target the right audience with the right videos. So in today's presentation, I'm going to show you the 3 best ways that you can capitalize on this algorithm change to turbocharge your info business. First, I'll reveal the business owner approach that separates the 8-figure info business owners from struggling content creators. Second, I'm going to show you the importance of strategic packaging to attract the right audience. And third, I'm going to break down exactly how you can use strategic CTAs and end screens to convert your viewers into buyers. So if you are a business owner already making at least $250,000 a year, grab a pen and paper and let's get into it. First things first is a business owner approach. You see, this fundamental approach is where most info business owners get YouTube completely wrong. They think YouTube success means creating viral content that gets millions of views, posting consistently on a rigid schedule, being a slave to the algorithm and trends. But that is the content creator trap. Now, when I first started uploading YouTube videos 10 years ago, yeah, I was a content creator. But these days, I am a business owner who uses YouTube as a customer acquisition channel. And if you are watching this video, I assume that you are too. So let me break down the fundamental difference. Content creators work for YouTube. Business owners make YouTube work for them. I'll repeat that, that's very important. Content creators work for YouTube, whereas on the other hand, business owners make YouTube work for them. Now, here's what this looks like in practice. My business channel only has about 30,000 subscribers, and my videos get on average about 5,000 to 10,000 views. That is nothing compared to real YouTubers with millions of subscribers, even though the real YouTubers technically I am one. So like, trust me, of anyone giving this advice, I can talk about this because I am on both sides. I can speak on both sides, okay? But the point is that my business channel alone makes me over $500,000 every single month, like I said earlier. Now that is more money than most content creators with millions and millions of subscribers make. Now you might be wondering why? Well, that's because I prioritize conversions over views. So here is exactly how to implement the business owner approach. First, you have to reverse your thinking about content. You see, most people ask, what will get the most views? Instead, you need to ask, what will generate the most money for my business? Second, focus on metrics that actually matter to your business, okay? For example, one of the most overlooked metrics is playback-based CPM. Through years of testing, we actually found that CPM is a good predictor of audience quality. Videos that have a higher CPM tend to convert better with a more qualified audience. So when I was creating my flywheel VSL back in the day, I was torn between two different topics: millionaire habits and beginner-friendly businesses. So what did I do? I looked at the CPM numbers. 7 habits that made me a millionaire was $16 to $18 CPM. Best online business videos was $39 to $53 CPM. And that is how I knew which one to go for. And you can find all this information very easily inside of your YouTube studio. Third, you want to simplify your production process. I only spend around 4 hours a month on YouTube content. And I know that is shocking to people because I have 3 YouTube channels, but it's because I've gotten this down to a T. I've gotten it down to a science. And even though I only spend 4 hours a month on being on the content hamster wheel, it still makes me $500,000 a month just on my 3rd channel alone. Now you might be wondering, how is this? Well, my product team handles scripting, my editors handle production, and then my designers create the thumbnail and the packaging. All I do is I show up, deliver value, and let the systems do the rest. That is it. This is the system I help founders inside of 8FL implement into their businesses. Now, this video is a pretty much brain dump of what I think. Now, did I sit here and create all the graphics for you and all this stuff? No, my team did, and I spend 30 minutes every Monday, and we go over any future scripts, and I say, I know you've been working with me for a year, 3 years, 5 years, you've been shadowing, you understand how my mind works, you've consumed all my content, you basically absorbed all of me, but actually you were wrong about this one thing. I wouldn't have said this, or I don't believe this statement, or this isn't part of my worldview. So my product team is basically trained to my mind, which is how they are able to create content that so closely mirrors to what I'm thinking, because they get 98% of the way there, and then sometimes I plug in the last 2% gap. Now, for those of you guys who don't have that system implemented yet, because honestly, this is probably, I'd say probably top 3 game-changing systems that I implemented in my business, is being able to have a team that can create 95% of content for you, or at least get you 95% of the way there with your content. Now, another way to do things is just to not overcomplicate your content. And remember, you are not a content creator here. You don't need fancy equipment or elaborate editing. And this is what I do sometimes. You see, some of my best converting videos are fully unscripted, fully off the cuff, of just like me in the car or me while I'm traveling. For example, here I have a video. I made almost $100 million from info. Let me bust some myths. And this was literally just me talking on the plane about all the BS business advice I see out there. And that video is in my top 3 when it comes to conversions on my business channel, because it is authentic, it is direct, and it speaks specifically to the problems that my ideal clients are facing. So the bottom line is this: as an info business owner on YouTube, you are not trying to build a massive following, you are just trying to attract more of the right people. Now, maybe it's just me, but I would rather have 100 qualified people who are making at least $250,000 a year watching my content on here, rather than 100,000 beginners who simply cannot afford 8FL. So here is a pretty good litmus test. Could one view of your video potentially lead to a sale? If not, then you are approaching YouTube like a content creator. You are making content creator videos, not business owner videos. And remember this, you are already making $250,000 a year, meaning your expertise lies in the value you provide and the problems that you help people solve. So why do you care if your video looks pretty? And don't get me wrong, high-end production quality can make you stand out in certain niches, but it's not what will make or break your channel. The difference maker is having the right approach to YouTube. And the best part about the business owner approach is that you spend less time creating content while generating more revenue. And you also don't have to be a full-time YouTuber to make YouTube work for your business, because once you have the right approach, you just need a robust system to convert viewers into clients. And that's exactly what we work with our private clients on at 8FL. But it doesn't end there. You see, now we move on to strategic packaging. This is really the second element, because let me be very clear about something up front. YouTube is now on easy mode for info business owners, but only if you understand one critical element that drives 80% of your results. And that one element is packaging. Now, you've probably heard me talk about this in previous videos, and the reason is very simple. Packaging isn't just important, it is everything. It is the biggest lever you can pull on YouTube, because it can directly impact who watches your videos. You see, when I first started posting on YouTube 9 years ago, or almost 10 years ago, this will be my 10-year anniversary, I had no idea about this. I was focused on content quality, but my videos went nowhere. I mean, just look at some of the titles and thumbnails from back then. Why? Because like I said, packaging is all about how you present your content to the world. It's how you ensure that your expertise reaches the right people who will actually buy your solutions. I mean, just look at the title of this video you're watching right now. YouTube is now on easy mode for info business owners. I could have easily called it, oh, YouTube is good for business owners, or something very generic like that. But who would click on that video? And more importantly, would the right people, or would my ideal sort of client be clicking on it? See, YouTube's algorithm really cares about two key metrics. The first is CTR and the second is watch time. The algorithm uses something called fractional exposure to test your content. It will show your video to a small sample size of viewers first, and if it performs well, then it will expand its reach. This must mean that your packaging must be precise. You don't get second chances with the algorithm. As an info business owner making at least $250K a year, your titles need to qualify your audience. On my business channel, I deliberately use titles that repel beginners and attract high-level business owners. I mean, just look at some of my recent video titles. How I made $1 million with Instagram quiz funnels, full breakdown. I mean, do you notice how specific that title is? I am intentionally filtering my audience before they can even click on my video. Now you might ask, oh, but won't this affect the number of people who watch the video? Absolutely, but remember, as a business owner, you are not optimizing for views, you are optimizing for conversions. Views don't matter, but titles are only part of the packaging equation. The other part is your thumbnails. When it comes to thumbnails, I like to keep things simple. For thumbnails, I follow my rule of 3 and include these 3 elements. First is facial expression showing genuine emotion. Next is clear, readable text that complements but doesn't copy your title, okay? I see this all the time. People literally just take the title of the video and put it on the thumbnail. It's like, imagine you were running meta ads and your creative literally had the same text that your headline did. It would make no sense. It's just unnecessary. It's pointless. But then people do that with their thumbnails. And next is visual that adds context. If you do this, you will attract people who watch because of the value you provide. And what you can do is also address a specific pain point that only your ideal clients have in the first 30 seconds of your video. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I always try to do this right at the beginning. I'll say something along the lines, if you're a business owner making $250,000 a year, but you're struggling to scale your business, something along those lines, or in my case, I might even say info business owner. And this also helps because it immediately qualifies who should keep watching. Have you ever noticed that I always have this call out at the beginning of my videos? Have you also observed that I also like to do it at the end before I include my CTA? And we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but here's what completely transformed my YouTube strategy: audience quality. Audience quality is far more important than audience size. You see, with the recent algorithm changes, audience quality is the most important thing. This means the algorithm is now rewarding audience matching more than ever before, and this is why my flywheel VSL became my most watched video ever. It amassed 9.5 million views, made me $20 million in sales, and the craziest part is YouTube paid me $266,000 in AdSense for the privilege of earning $20 million on the back end. Not because I had fancy production. In fact, my entire VSL video was me speaking over some basic slides, but it performed well because I packaged it specifically for beginners who are looking to make money online. In short, the right packaging pre-qualifies your audience before they even reach your offer. But beyond packaging, there's one final element that often gets overlooked, and that is CTAs and end screens. You see, this is where most business owners leave money on the table. They completely disregard the power of CTAs and end screens. You see, now that you understand how to get the right people to watch your videos using strategic packaging, let me show you how to get these people to take action after watching your video. First, you must understand the 2 types of CTAs that exist. You have soft versus hard CTAs. Now, I get asked about this all the time by business owners inside of ADFL, and here's how they work. Soft CTAs are used in videos that are more superficial or introductory, okay? This is where people might need to watch more of your content and get warmed up before they buy what you sell. Soft CTAs might include something like, hey, if you want to learn more about X, check out this other video I made covering Y. Or if this is something you need help with, DM me the word whatever it is on Instagram. And here I push people to DM my business Instagram account. You see, hard CTAs are more direct. You want to use them for more heavy hitting, value packed videos where by the end of it, people already want to take immediate action and potentially buy what you sell. There's some videos you make where people are like, oh, I appreciate it. Or, okay, that was a nice worldview, but they're not warmed up enough yet, okay? They're still cold. And for those sort of videos, I don't like to send people to a hard CTA. For those sort of videos, I would prefer that we either send them to another YouTube video I have, or that will warm them up some more, or potentially push them to my Instagram. Now, if you make one of those banger videos, we've all had those banger videos where we're like, okay, people know what I do, they know what I sell, they know how I can help. So then in that case, just get them to book in a call straight away. So this is something where you would make an immediate CTA. Now, if you've ever been watching my business channel videos, you can see how I do this. But here's a step-by-step. First, and this is very important, you want to actually place your first CTA within the first 90 seconds of your video. This is critical because viewer retention is highest during this period. So make the CTA natural, okay? Don't super hard pitch, and aligned with your content, a subtle mention of your offer that feels like a valuable resource rather than a sales pitch. Your second and most powerful CTA should come at the end of your video. You see, the viewers who make it to this point are your most qualified prospects. They've consumed your entire offering and are most receptive to taking the next step. Be direct here about exactly what action you want them to take. Now, as a bonus, you can also strategically mention your offer or product halfway through the video to remind your viewers that this is what you help people with. I mean, even throughout this, I mentioned many times, my private clients, when I work with my clients, yada. You're like, okay, cool, bro. I get it. You have a fucking private client program. That's very obvious. Now, in this video, I might decide to either hard CTA or not hard CTA. I have one in here, so I'm still deciding as I go through this video whether I even mention it. But the point is, by the time you end this video, you're like, okay, I get it. Like, I understand he has something to sell. Maybe he didn't pitch it to me directly, but I'm hearing about this, or maybe I have little sprinkles or little mentions of people I work with or results we've gone or whatever it may be. Listen, the point is understand where the video sits in your overall funnel and match your CTA accordingly. For example, if someone has watched an entire video about a specific problem you solve, they are likely interested in how you can help them further. In that case, your job is to make it easy for them to make the next step. Moving on, let's talk about end screens, because this is something that most business owners don't even know that they can do. End screens are YouTube's built-in feature that allows you to promote your other videos in the last 20 seconds of your video. But end screens aren't just about self-promotion, it's about session watch time. Remember I spoke about YouTube's new algorithm earlier? Well, YouTube's new algorithm also heavily favors videos that act as session starters, videos that get people to watch multiple times in a row. If YouTube sees that your content keeps people on the platform, they will push your videos to more people because they want people to stay on the platform. It is as simple as that. And this directly ties into what I call the 7-11-4 rule, which states that for someone to go from viewer to buyer, they need to consume 7 hours of your content across 11 touch points and 4 different locations. End screens accelerate this process by getting viewers to consume more of your content in a single session. With your end screens, try to always link a related video that continues the viewer's journey towards becoming a client. Recommended videos that make sense with the order or sequence of what you are trying to help them achieve. For example, if my viewer is watching one of my business channel videos where I cover my flywheel VSL, well then a good video to create next would be how to actually create the feeder videos that feed into that VSL video. By the way, I literally made a video where I shared some of the highlights of the live event I did where I spoke at length about my content system. But just so you understand, here is how you want to think about it. Think of each video as a larger conversion funnel, not as just a standalone piece of content. And you can also include watch next videos in the description of your first video to get people to binge watch your content. Because remember, if your video keeps people on the platform, that is how you get the YouTube algorithm to work in your favor. Look, I'll be honest, YouTube is a goldmine for business owners if used correctly. And with my content system, I spend 4 to 6 hours a month to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional revenue every single month just from my business channel alone. Listen, I'm not even gonna mention what the main channel pulls in. That is a topic for another day. So back to the topic at hand. The beauty is that YouTube videos never stop working for you. You see, I could stop posting tomorrow and still make tons of money from my catalog of old videos. And I'm not just talking about top line revenue here. And that is why I always say that your personal brand is a moat that you build around your business. And it has never been easier to build one on YouTube as an info business owner. But YouTube is a science of its own. There's a lot more to it. Just like how I structured my VSL, which is one part of my bigger content system that I mentioned to you earlier. In fact, I have a video on this that you can go ahead and watch after this. Now, here comes the decision at the end of every infopreneur's YouTube video. Do I hard CTA or do I not? Well, for today, I'm gonna leave it at that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was of value to you. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave a video in the first link in the description, as well as in the end card right after this that I think you should go check out. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next one.